what no one tells you about your 5th published novel. We've already talked about what happens for your first published novel. We're going to keep talking about what happens with your 10th published novel, but drop your questions down below. And when it comes to your 5th published novel, that means you've been in the game for a little bit. I said for years and years and years, you do not take information or advice or anything from an author who has not done this at least 3 times. 3 published books in the same way with the success level that they have achieved across the board during 3 different book launches. Because 1 can be a fluke, 2 can be a fluke, 3, you have a pattern here, and now we can trust that entity. So at this point, with 5 books under your belt, you are an established source in this industry. And that means a lot for you as an author. That means you have an established following. You understand how to build community and have conversations and talk to your audience. You understand marketing and how to get those people involved and hooked into what you're doing. And you've established a group that comes along with you. So now you're not, just working really hard to get whatever you can. You have people. You have a fandom. You have an audience. The work becomes less isolated and less strenuous because you've got people connected to you. Your 5th book, you know how this works. You understand how to upload files and how to have conversations with book cover designers and how to talk to your publishers and all of those things. You get it because you've done it, which means you have a course that you've plotted and you can go down that path, but you also have the ability to change course just a little bit. So once you get to your 5th book, now you can start to try things because you've had the established patterns, you know what works, you can lean heavily into this, and now we have the option of veering off course just a little bit to test things, to refine things, to see how we can make things easier on ourselves, how we can tweak things. You understand what has worked. Now you're innovating to make them work a little bit better and more in your favor. Your 5th book means you've written a ton of words. You know what you are struggling with when it comes to writing your book in terms of what you're going to have to fix in editing. You know your quirks. You know what you can be mindful of and you can be looking for to make this easier on you. You have so much more world opened up to you after your 5th book because you've gone through the pitfalls. You've dealt with all of the issues and you now know how to navigate around it. You also have the ability to leverage what you've already done to lead into what you're doing now. So you've got a world of opportunities for you. But with that, it also opens up doors for new opportunities for you. If you've written 5 books, you will be more likely to get interviews. Not just with readers, not just with reading entities, but with big name magazines, national news networks, all sorts of different places, because now you're an established entity. You now have the ability to access things that you couldn't before. When you were a new author, you couldn't afford to do certain things, but now you're making money off your books. You can level up your book covers. You can level up the editors that you're working with. You can level up the audiobook narrators you're hiring. You can do more because you're bringing in more income. So with your 5th book, you have so many new doors open to you, so many opportunities, and you've been in this for a while. If you write really fast like me, it's possible. It's so easy for you to get that in 1 year. But chances are for most of you, especially when you're new, you're not going to have 5 books in a year. So you've been in it for a couple of years at this point. And when you scale up and you level up, you can write faster, you can put out more books. You can get to a point where you're putting out a ton of books like me and some of the other high-performing authors. And you can do different things. So you have those things that you're elevating, but again, when you're in this in the beginning, it's not going to be as easy or as quick. So you've been in this for a little bit now. So you've had the experience throughout a couple of years, which means you've learned and you've seen how social media has changed, how the book market has changed, how to innovate and navigate this new world, especially with the rise of something like TikTok and BookTok. It's entirely different. It's entirely new. And you understand now how to adapt to those new things faster than other people, which means you can make more money and get more fans and have more community, more conversation, all of these things. Your 5th book is a game changer. When you get to that 5th book, you come around that corner and it's that very quick elevation because now you have all of that under your belt and now everything can grow and scale significantly faster. Your 5th book is a really great touchstone. It's a really great milestone. And the more books you put out, the more milestones you're going to have and the faster you can scale. The difference between having 1 to 5 books and 5 to 10 books, 6 to 10 books, is wildly different. It is a slow growth at the beginning of your career, but once you hit that 5th book, boom, that's going up. Especially if you have the right connections and you leverage them, especially if you lean into the right marketing tactics, you can take off very quickly. The more books I put out and the more that I would do on social media and the more that I would engage with my audience, the faster that I grew. I 7x'd my book sales the second I got on TikTok. 7x'd just from getting on TikTok. And you can do things like that too with the longevity of your career. The more you do things, the easier it gets. So that 5th book really should kind of be a mile marker for you to take bigger risks, to try new things, to innovate in new and different ways. Because now you've gone the path, you've walked on it, you've done what all of us other authors have done. Now it's time to try to innovate and try new things and do things differently and take the risks. You can take the risks once you have 5 books out because you've established yourself in this space. You have the freedom to take risks with what you write and how you write them, with who you work with how you're marketing, with how you are growing, with how you're scaling. You have a little bit of flexibility to kind of throw some things to the wall to see if they stick, to see if you can create new opportunities. You can start reaching out to new people. You can start spending a little more money. You can start potentially losing a little money by trying something new or losing time or losing effort because you have the space to lose a little bit of traction and then risk it to gain a ton of traction. That 5th book really gives you permission to just go to the place where you can try the big things, where you can take the big moves. And if it nails it, excellent. You're going to grow and do cool things. And if you miss it, that's okay. It's not going to hurt you. It's easy to recover from that because you have all of that back work that you've already done. Your 5th book? 5th book is the one, guys. It is the one that can open up those doors and allow you to take new opportunities, to try new things, to hopefully succeed beautifully. But even if you fail, you're going to fall, this much? It's not like it's a huge career-changing thing. You're going to fall this much, baby, because you've already done the work and you've already established it. Book number 5. Book number 5 is a big deal. But it's not the only one. Book 10. Book 10 opens up some doors. So we'll join you in tomorrow's episode when we talk all about that.